António Guterres is now briefing the Council on US strikes against Iran. Let's not take you there live and listen.
And yet, we now risk descending into a rat hole of retaliation after retaliation. To avoid it, diplomacy must prevail. Civilians must be protected. Safe maritime navigation must be guaranteed. We must act immediately and decisively to halt the fighting and return to serious, sustained negotiations on the Iran nuclear program. We need a credible, comprehensive and verifiable solution, one that restores trust, including with full access to inspectors of the IAEA as the United Nations technical authority in this field. The Non-Proliferation Treaty is a cornerstone of international peace and security. Iran must fully respect it. And all member states must act in accordance with their obligations under the UN Charter and other rules of international law, including international humanitarian law. The United Nations stands ready to support any and all efforts toward a peaceful resolution. But peace cannot be imposed. It must be chosen. Madam President, we face a stark choice. One path leads to wider war, deeper human suffering, and serious damage to the international order. The other leads to de-escalation, diplomacy, and dialogue. We know which path is right. And I urge this Council and all Member States to act with reason, restraint and urgency. We cannot and must not give up on peace. Thank you.
I thank the Secretary General for his remarks, and I now give the floor to Ms. Miroslav Jenča.
Madam President, on the evening of 21 June, the President of the United States announced that the US military conducted strikes against the Fordow, Natanz and Isfahan nuclear facilities in Iran. Shortly thereafter, the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran confirmed that the attacks around the nuclear sites had taken place. Iranian state media indicated the 3 sites had been evacuated and the highly enriched uranium stockpile transferred in advance. Iran has said there were no immediate signs of radioactive contamination at the 3 locations following the strikes. The Crisis Management Bureau of COM, where Fordow is located, stated that the perimeter of the Fordow nuclear site had been targeted.
All right, that was the United Nations Secretary General António Guterres calling for the cessation of hostilities as the United States has launched attacks on Iran. And this comes at the back of Israel still saying that they still have targets to strike in Iran. And they're also prepared, of course, to continue its attacks on the country for as long as necessary. That's according to the Israeli military's chief of staff. Now, Eyal Zamir, we've heard saying, praising the United States strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities on Sunday morning, saying that, they were made possible, really, thanks to the courageous leadership of their American partners. Now, these strikes, of course, represent a turning point in Israel's Rising Lion campaign, which started last week. Those were live visuals there coming from the United Nations.